Prince of Persia series has been one of Ubisoft's well-known franchises for many years, next to Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. With the success of 2024's The Lost Crown, Ubisoft continued the 2D action of the series with the Rogue Prince of Persia. Welcome everyone, my name is Shane, also known as Wonder Subset, and today we will be looking at Ubisoft's recent release in its long-running series, a roguelike developed by the creators of Dead Cells expansions Evil Empire. Released on August 20th for Xbox Series consoles, PS5 and PC, with versions for the Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 to be released sometime later this year. For today's video, I will be playing the PC version using a controller. Also, thank you to Ubisoft for providing the key for the game. But before we start, I want to give a little warning to those watching that this video will contain spoilers for the game. The Rogue Prince of Persia tells the tale of the Great Persian War between the Persians and the Huns, led by their king, Nogai the Hun. The Huns, who have been imbued with a dark and powerful shaman magic, intend to take over the kingdom while fighting against the kingdom's royal family and their army. Our protagonist of the game, the unnamed prince, steps in to help stop the Huns but was quickly taken out by Nogai. With the Huns proceeding to the city, the prince was then saved by a mysterious being named Pachi, who reveals to him that it has been 3 days since the prince's battle with Nogai, with the city in ruin and the kingdom's army overrun. So with his combat skills along with the mysterious magic, the prince must fight through the invading Hun army to defeat Nogai and save his family and his kingdom. The Rogue Prince of Persia is a gorgeous game with a beautiful art style. Everything you see here is completely hand-drawn, with the environment and levels all having very vibrant colors and the levels completely bleeding with atmosphere. I absolutely love how this game looks, and it's great to see that the hand-drawn art style still hasn't lost its touch in today's era of gaming. The soundtrack of the game also has some of the best tracks I have heard in a long time, with it being a mix of different styles of music that are catchy and pleasing to the ear. Just listen to the music that plays in Zagros' village. Such an amazing soundtrack while also having great top-notch gameplay. Like The Lost Crown, The Rogue is a 2D side-scroller with platforming features in addition to fast-paced action gameplay, while also having familiar gameplay features from previous games in the series, such as parkour and climbing and running on walls. These mechanics provide different traversal features and acrobatics that help with avoiding hazards, dodging enemy attacks, jumping and vaulting between different platforms, and maneuvering to different pathways that each level provides. When parkouring through the levels, this mechanic can also enhance the movement of the prince, as depending on how perfectly timed the acrobatic actions are, they not only make you move through the level faster, but also fill a meter under your health called Vayu's Breath. When Vayu's Breath is full, your movement speed is increased, making all of your actions faster than before. And while Vayu's Breath drains out pretty quickly, as long as you continue with actions that keep the meter full, you'll stay continuously fast. The platforming in this game is as smooth as butter and is really easy to get into, even if you're new to the franchise. The more I played this game, the more I felt in control of my actions because of how fine-tuned the controls are. I felt like I had full control of everything I was doing. I became familiar with how far I could go with wall running, how far I could jump and dash across different platforms, the patterns of different enemies and hazards, and whenever I would mess up, I knew that it was my fault because of my lack of timing and losing the pattern rather than the game's fault. Parkour and smooth traversal has always been one of the biggest staples of the Prince of Persia series, and the Rogue did not fail to deliver. To dive more deeper in the gameplay, I'm going to talk about the roguelike features that this game has. Like with other roguelikes like Hades, Returnal, Crypt of the Necrodancer, and Elsie, which was previously covered on this channel, the Rogue Prince of Persia has players run through procedurally generated levels, providing multiple pathways for you to explore with each run-through and allowing players to choose which levels they wish to go through, providing different items and awards for each path, such as weapons, currency, power-ups, and more at the start of each level, making every new run-through unique. Whenever you enter a level, you'll have randomly generated weapons and tools at your disposal in addition to a random item for your benefit, such as a bag of gold or the flask of Arag, which increases your max health for that run. Each level has multiple different pathways you can explore where you can find treasures, new weapons to unlock, and as you play through the game, you can unlock new levels to go to during your runs. There's also random rooms you can enter in each level where you can find chests that include treasure, medallions, and weapons or altars that can provide one of 3 different weapons or medallions of your choosing. Some of these rooms will have you avoiding obstacles and hazards to get to the chest at the end as well, giving you a bit of a challenge. Each level also has multiple wells of dreams scattered throughout the level, which can be used to fast travel between different wells of your choosing within the level, making trying to get to certain areas quicker than navigating through the level normally. Although I have a lot more fun doing the latter. And depending on which levels you go through, you will also unlock new story elements throughout your run-throughs, providing deeper background to the prince and his family, in addition to meeting key characters that will assist you throughout the game in some form. Each level also has a variety of different enemies to face against too. So many of them have different abilities and attack patterns, some of them being stronger than the other. The variety of different enemies in this game encourages players to study their patterns and weaknesses whenever you come across them. Some are tougher than the usual grunts you face, but once you figure out how they work, you'll make short work of them regardless. A lot of them will have protective auras which act as a shield to protect them against the damage of your attacks and are unable to stagger or even be kicked. These auras can be damaged and stronger weapons can drain them in no time, but the quickest way to completely destroy the auras are to kick items onto your enemies. See a big rock? Kick it against an enemy with protective aura to get rid of it instantly. You can even kick enemies into each other to get rid of the aura of one, and it can even stun enemies as well. Also, I just want to say this, kicking an enemy you're fighting into a pit or into environmental hazards, absolutely satisfying. And the bosses that you go against in the game are amazing too. Some of them are so tough that compared to other bosses, their attacks and abilities can really keep you on your toes. Like the boss Batar, who can launch devastating magic attacks on you in multiple directions, and when they hit, they hurt a lot. You can't afford to dawdle with this guy. Like I said before, the game has a huge variety of different weapons and tools that you can use during your run-throughs. Each weapon has different capabilities with different DPS and unique special attacks, and you can also get stronger, more enhanced versions of these weapons during your runs, such as the Royal Sword, which triggers a chain of devastating fast attacks when activated, or the Iron Mace, which hits harder and can throw enemies into the air, and my personal favorite, as crazy as it sounds, the Dennet Pot, which not only inflicts random damage, but even has random critical hits too, which most if not each time I use it makes mincemeat of my enemies. The same case with the different tools you can use in the game. These tools provide different capabilities, giving you an advantage against enemies in combat, like the grappling hook, which catches a distant enemy and pulls them towards you, stunning them and leaving them open to your attacks, or the stealth spirit, which when used on an enemy makes you instantly snap behind them and avoid their attacks. In addition to the weapons and tools, there's also a large variety of medallions which act as power-ups. Each medallion has different types of effects that can be beneficial to your playthrough, with some of the effects only activating when certain conditions are met, like the healing shield breaker, which restores 5 health points whenever you break an enemy's protective aura, or Sticky Dash, where every time you dash it spreads resin, which if you have a weapon or tool that provides fire damage can light up the resin and damage enemies caught within it. And one of my favorite medallions, Vayu's Effigy, automatically triggers Vayu's Breath whenever you dash. Have fun with endlessly running at top speed throughout your run through. Aside from finding them regularly during your runs through the different levels in the game, you can also find medallions in random rooms found throughout the levels that have these types of altars to achieve them, such as the sacrificial altars, where by sacrificing a certain amount of your max health, you are rewarded with a random medallion it provides, with it increasing the amount you sacrifice each time. It's sometimes a high risk, high reward gimmick in the game, and since this is a permanent effect during your run until you find a flask of Arag, it's only recommended to do this if you are willing to take the risk of losing a lot of health if it means getting a powerful medallion out of it. You can also get random medallions from these gold altars from spending gold treasure you find during your run-throughs. Some medallions have different rarities too, making some of their effects more unique and powerful than the others. But bear warning, there are also corrupted medallions which, despite providing certain buffs and benefits, also have drawbacks, like the corrupted Tonic Accelerator, which nullifies all energy costs when Vayu's Breath is activated, but the duration of Vayu's Breath when filled is cut in half. There are dozens upon dozens of weapons, tools, and medallions to choose from, allowing players the freedom of choosing different combinations of them that is best catered to their type of playstyle. During my playthrough of this game, one of the most fun things to do in each run was finding new equipment and experimenting with them to see if it was the type of weapon that would be the best for me to use on my runs and if their abilities would be beneficial to the enemies I would fight. And with there being so many different ways to get them, you won't have to worry about starving for new equipment to use use if you feel you need to change your playstyle during your runs. However, even when you find new equipment, they won't be available during your runs right away, because each time you find some new equipment, like say a new weapon, you'll also be offered a blueprint of that weapon so you can unlock it later on. I love this feature because every time I find a new weapon, I at least have the option to experiment with it during my run to see if I like it or not, and with a blueprint given to me along with it, I can always invest in unlocking it later if it's something I want to add to my arsenal for future runs. Now, just as the case with roguelikes, whenever you die during your run, you are forced to start over from the beginning, resulting in your currently equipped weapons, tools, and medallions being lost as a result. This game lacks health pickups for the most part, so losing health can be a huge risk altogether. Although some medallions can offer health-related effects, you can also replenish your health with a health potion you have with you during each run. By default, you can only use it once per level, so it's best to use this as a last resort if you feel like you're too low on health. At the start of each level during your run, you can also find these fountains, which when used not only refills a good amount of your health, but also refills your health potion bottle to use it again. In terms of restarting your run, it also plays a role in the game's story as well. At some point during the story, it is later revealed that when the prince was born, Pachi's father gifted him a magical bolo which the prince wears around his neck. This bolo allows the prince to create time loops specific to that point in time, where the prince can change the course of events happening within the loop. In the case with the events of the game, anytime the prince dies during a run, everything that has happened during the run will be completely reset, and the prince will be brought to the beginning starting at the Oasis, a magical area created by Pachi that is unaffected by the bola's magic. The Oasis acts as the game's hub area where you can purchase different items, purchase skills, and more. Now, I mentioned previously that during your playthrough you can come across certain characters in the game that can assist you in your journey in certain ways. Whenever you find them, they will travel to and stay in the Oasis. One example of these characters being Sukra, a weaponsmith who can create new weapons for your journey provided you found the blueprints for said weapons. Then there's another character named Niamter, a Hun shaman who is imprisoned by Nogai and offers to help you fight against the Huns if you find his Book of Heads. Most of the characters you save and send to the Oasis provide different benefits to your journey, but at a cost. During your run-throughs, while you come across different weapons, tools, medallions, and even gold, another type of item you'll come across which also works as a permanent currency are soul cinders. Soul cinders are quite common, and you'll come across them when fighting against enemies and bosses, and sometimes you're even given soul cinders in the beginning of the level. However, unlike the gold currency, which is completely unaffected, the soul cinders can be lost if you die during your run and can't be recovered. This is where the soul altars come in. In the beginning of each level, you'll find the soul altars, which if interacted with, will take the current amount of cinders in your possession and deposit it into the Oasis for later use. Whenever you return to the Oasis after dying from your run, you can use the cinders as currency for most of the shops available. Such as the case with weapons, when you invest a certain amount of soul cinders into a weapon you found a blueprint for, the weapon will be crafted to use for future run-throughs. The same can be done for tools and even things in Pachi's workshop, such as packs of new medallions and items that can provide permanent buffs or abilities to help you on future runs. Soul cinders can also be used to unlock new costumes to use in the game through the Weaver's Tent, which is unlocked after saving the character Lala during your playthrough. While some of these are just different color palettes, a lot of these costumes have different unique cosmetic details, such as the turtle skin, which is a reference to Dragon Ball with the orange and blue palette referencing Goku's outfit, or the Tree of Life outfit, which is a reference to the 2008 Prince of Persia title. You can even play as the Evil Empire's mascot. It's really goofy to see, but I absolutely love this skin. A lot of these skins are locked at first, but as you play through the game and accomplish certain tasks or defeat bosses a certain way, you'll unlock more skins for purchase. If you're looking to make some extra cinders, you can do this by completing milestones from the Book of Heads, which is unlocked after freeing Niamter. These milestones require you to accomplish certain objectives for certain enemies, which can reward you with soul cinders and another permanent currency, corrupted blood, which can be earned by defeating enemies during awakening runs. The milestones can range from killing a certain number of enemies, kill enemies in a specific way, and killing one of the bosses in the game a certain number of times. These are a big help when it comes to obtaining currency and experience points. Now, experience points are what you get when you play the game normally from defeating enemies or accomplishing objectives and so on. Anytime you level up, you obtain a skill point which you can use on the skill trees in the Oasis. These skills can provide you with bonuses such as starting each run with a certain amount of gold, having up to 40 cinders sent to the oasis when dying, adding an additional health potion, and even a second chance at your current run after you die for the first time. You can also reset all your skills and invest them into new ones to provide you with a different build of skills. All of these features can help you with your playthrough of the game, and since the game encourages replayability, certain levels and story elements can only be achieved from multiple run-throughs since there is no backtracking. Once you progress to the next level, you can't go back to the one you were previously in. Sure, you can try to run through the game with what you currently have without accomplishing all the side tasks if you wanted to, but you would be missing out on pretty much everything the game's overall story has if you don't put in the effort to accomplish these tasks via multiple run-throughs. This is where the mind map comes in, which will have certain side objectives be connected to one of the main objectives. It works kind of like a puzzle in a way, where you can use details provided for you as hints on how you can accomplish the objectives. For example, Shaheen, the prince's brother, was captured during the invasion of the Huns, and at some point during your playthrough, you'll come across one of the Hun generals, Batar the Corrupted, who we see has Shaheen at his mercy and winds up killing him before the boss battle starts. However, if you happen to find Shaheen during one of your runs, you can accomplish the tasks required to free him from his prison and send him to the oasis, saving him from his fate and resulting in a new and permanent interaction outcome when you come across Batar again, where he also reveals that he was using Shaheen to find a cure for the corrupted magic that has been affecting the Hun army. Or in this instance where you had to save Ferial, the prince's mother, who is trapped in the gold mines due to a cave-in, and in order to get to where she is to save her, you would need to unlock the gate to the warehouse, which is in the craftsman's district, but to unlock the warehouse door, you need to figure out the code, which are 3 of the insignias labeled on the levers, and they are in 3 different levels. And with the use of the mind map providing hints on where to find them, you'll use the code to unlock the door leading to the warehouse, defeat the boss Kali, Nogai's daughter who has been completely corrupted by the magic, and then rescue Ferial, sending her to the oasis. And again, since the oasis is a realm outside of the Bola's time loop, anyone residing within the oasis will no longer be affected by the events transpiring within the loop, making certain moments in the game having completely different outcomes. Being a roguelike, replayability plays a large factor not just in the game's gameplay, but also affecting its overall story, which is a great way for people to get the most out of the game and encourages them to complete everything. And the different pathways you can take, which can also lead you to certain unlockable events, honestly gives me huge Metroidvania style vibes, even though this game isn't considered a Metroidvania like The Lost Crown was. The multiple run-throughs don't just reward you with new weapons and abilities, but you can also get deeper details on the story and characters, such as the prince recalling his childhood or his overall relationship with his family and how his brother and mother felt personally about the use of his magical bola, but would eventually move on from this and work together, showcasing some character development. Character interactions show their overall personalities, making you feel connected with them, along with the different portraits showcasing their different expressions, illustrating their emotions in the current situation. And you also find out things from the Hun's perspective, detailing a more tragic side to them and giving the player a sense of understanding as to why the Huns do what they do. And completing all of the objectives and quests that are provided to you within the mind map not only helps you piece the story together, but also rewards you with the true ending of the game, which itself ends on a very satisfying note and giving you a sense of closure and accomplishment, knowing that you have achieved the best results of the game. Evil Empire did a fantastic job with the Rogue Prince of Persia. In fact, I would be suffice to say that's probably one of the best roguelikes I've played in the past few years. Although Prince of Persia may not be in the biggest part of the gaming limelight nowadays compared to Ubisoft's other big franchises, it's very reassuring to know that the series still gets its share of love and appreciation today, especially if it's put into the hands of the right developer. With an amazing art style, fantastic soundtrack, its variety of gameplay and traversal thanks to its buttery smooth controls, and a really good story where the ending sent chills down my spine, I can say with confidence that the Rogue Prince of Persia is a game definitely worth your time. Sands of Time has always been one of my favorite games in the series, but this game comes pretty darn close. I hope you all have enjoyed the video. I am Shane, also known as Wonder Subset. Thank you all for watching.